You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains
Good evening, everyone. This is Diane from the Red Wine, and I'm joined by Darylyn. And I hear, how are you doing?
I am doing really well. I had some conversations today with a lot of people that work at the Sheriff's Department, and my heart goes out to them because I know what it's like to be dissatisfied at your job due to the malfeasance and people who are afraid to tell the truth, and that includes administration.
Right. And a lot of reasons that we've gotten into, investigating and researching for people is because when you have administrators who feel that they're on a different level, and I suppose if you want to compare it to politics, it's how Democrats feel over the world. There's a level of elitism. There's a level
I'll say
of
this, right? There's retaliation in police departments.
well,
I don't know
I
if
mean,
people are aware of
it's
that.
not.
It's worse than politics.
It's not just police departments. I mean, it is
No, it
in
isn't,
your
right.
educational systems, it is in private business, it's out there. And the unfortunate part is a lot of times people are too intimidated to speak. And what we, Daryl and I, have done is one of the areas that we've looked and are putting the business together. We actually have a business together. Is we believe our experiences in life and business and careers is, we will be the voice for those who are too afraid to speak. We've been through it. We're not afraid. We've had probably everything in the book thrown at us, and we're still here, and we will be the voice to speak for those that can't speak, because there's nothing more that enrages me than out of control in my field, the public boards, select boards, any type of boards, planning boards, whatever, that we'll sit there and beat down employees. We'll try and shoo them out the door, have them sign non-disclosures, which we all know are illegal, pretty much. And they will try to shut you up and have you go away quietly with your tail between your legs, even though 90% of the time the employee is in the right and they are in the wrong. And that's a big issue that's going on. And that's exactly what happened with you, Daryl. And you faced and took on, a huge law enforcement agency, Mass State Police, with, how you were treated. And you experienced what they tried to do to you. And you're still here. You're still standing. You're still talking. And you have the respect of many of law enforcement officers that know exactly what you went through. And they respect you. But, when you have employees that, they do votes of, are they satisfied? Are they, willing to work with you? And what are the issues? And a lot of times there are surveys done, like in the schools, they'll do the surveys for, how teachers feel when it comes to, different things that the boards are doing. Same thing for the town. And a lot of times the question is, what is done with those surveys? Do people actually read them? Do people actually respond to them?
As an example, in 1996, the state police commissioned what's called the Linder Report, Linder. I can post it later if anyone's interested. And what it did is it enumerated the number of issues that, that the majority of the employees for the Mass State Police felt. And they still haven't done anything about it. It's the same problems everywhere, and that's why I love watching NYPD Blue, because I don't remember when that was filmed, but when I retired on the captain's list, unfortunately. They were having the same issues in NYPD Blue back then that are still on the job now. And, I'd like to say, we try to hire these forward, thinkers, like, Chris Mason was supposed to be a forward thinker. Jack Mom was supposed to be a forward thinker. And I don't know exactly what they've done, but your hands are tied when you get to that level because it's political. And when you care more about the public relations aspect of your entity than you actually do about what's really going on, you're catering to public relations. And that's what's happening now with the sheriff. And she's everywhere except for where she's supposed to be. She's still campaigning. She got the job. You got the job. Go do the job. Go back inside and do the job. These people are dying for some leadership and they don't have it. Like, as an example, Kevin Fernandez, he was investigated for cheating on a promotional exam. And one of the test givers that were in the room, before he even got the question out of his mouth, Fernandez answered it. Well, what is he, the great Karnak? And for those of you that are too young, that's Johnny Carson. He would, put a bullet to his head, right? And this person is promoted to an ADS. You have Donnie Doyle, who has multiple children out of wedlock when he was married, with women that he has not paid child support to. How do you promote that person to the head of training of an organization when women are at the range? He puts his hands down their pants and grabs their belt and shakes them around. And he really has nothing to offer, except he bought a sober home. So soon after he bought the sober home, which he lied on his mortgage application, he was promoted. He's promoted to an assistant deputy superintendent. You got Bob Ahonen, who, basically is the axe man, and he threatens people. And he rules by fear. He's very unassuming in his looks, but he's the axe man, and he's getting ready to retire soon. We can't wait to depose you, Bob. We can't wait to all the lawsuits that are going to come forward that we get to depose you. We're really looking forward to that, because you'll have to tell the truth then. And he and Fernandez and Iridikian's gone, but I'm trying to think, and Donnie Doyle, these people are wreaking havoc on the people that work for them, especially people who tell the truth. And this is what happens, right? When you tell the truth, people get mad at you for telling the truth. They don't like to hear the truth. I don't know why. I mean, I would rather hear the truth than know someone's lying in my face. But yeah, so that's what's going on there. And people try to pinpoint like who's talking to us and who's doing this and who's doing that. And we'll never tell anybody, because one, we're media, so we don't have to give up any sources at all. But confidentiality is important when you're trying to help people that are in a very delicate situation. Your career is taken from you, your reputation's ruined, lies are made about you, and everybody that knows it is covering it up there. And no one is holding them responsible. So you know what? I complained to Post. I complained to the Ethics Commission about Donna, and they wanted to give her a pass. I haven't given all the information that we have, but you feed it into the system a little bit at a time and let all these agencies give her a pass until somebody dies. She's going to fire someone, and they're going to commit suicide. That's how bad it is there, and I don't say that lightly. She has wreaked with people's emotions. She has wreaked with their health, their family, their benefits, their pension, while she hires her husband's ex-wife, and she just got a big promotion. She's going to hire her niece. She's created positions for people, yet hasn't paid the COs any mind or any money. And Colleen Wooding is the worst by far human resources person that I've ever heard of in my whole entire life. And I can't wait till she gets deposed too, because she's a mean, vindictive, nasty person. And the way that they fire people and the way that they lie to people to fire them is abhorrent and disgusting. And the reason why we do this is because we want the people at the Sheriff's Department to know that we are behind you. No one else is speaking out about this. Tim Whalen didn't speak about it. Had Tim Whalen asked for our advice, he probably would have won, because we knew a lot of these things, prior to her, quote, winning office. But she doesn't know what she's doing. She's not experienced. She's not law enforcement. She's admitted as much. She gets lost inside the facility, and all she seems to care about is campaigning. People are tired of seeing your face. Get back to work and help the people that work for you, because soon, I don't know if you know this, Di, but they're going to start to lose people due to attrition, because no one wants to work there anymore. They're paid terrible, they're treated terrible, and they're lied to.
Well, I mean, they one of the unions, I believe, had a vote of, I would call it no confidence. When you have 71 out of 109 voting members of a union vote from somewhat dissatisfied to extremely dissatisfied, that's almost 3/4 of your union, of whatever particular union this was, that is right, dissatisfied with the leadership.
So we're the first ones to break this story, and I don't even know. Hi, Donna, if you're listening. Hi, Colleen, if you're listening. Hi, Hannah, if you're listening. Hi, Casey Myers, if you're listening. Because they definitely stalk our Facebook page. Because Hannah liked something, I think, by accident.
Well, I mean,
But hi, Hannah.
don't forget your new friend who she just hired to be the attorney for the sheriff's department.
Oh, Michael. I think he got hired as the labor attorney. Was Mike Halpin?
But that doesn't matter.
Mike Halpin was part and parcel of firing the troopers at the state police. He threatened two of my friends that he was going to fire them for a union issue. She can't get her own talent. We understand. We have a new rumor of why Amy Kular was let go, is because allegedly she gave a lawsuit to Bob Honan and said, "Oh, by the way, you're mentioned in it." And I guess she has a nervous giggle. Like, I have a terrible nervous giggle. I hate going to funerals because if I'm not crying, then I start to giggle. And I don't mean, it's not disrespectful.
It's an uncomfortable giggle.
And I end up crying after that, right? But so allegedly that's why she was fired. But who knows? Like, people are going to take guesses. But what Donna did was paid her whole salary. $170,000 of taxpayer money was given because Donna didn't want someone to work there. And
well,
Donna
she bought her out.
She bought her out. Well, she fired her. What she didn't do, she didn't have to buy her out.
No. Because when you I'm telling you, when you pay someone, I've done it. I haven't done it personally myself a million times, but I've been involved in it.
First.
Yeah.
She's offered a severance package to more than 10 people to get the F out of Dodge.
Yes, that's buying them out. That's buying them out.
She does not need to. They are not on contract. These COs are not on contract. What she does, if they don't want them, they say, "I'm going to fire you, or I can buy you out."
The ones that they try and buy out are the ones they know would have a legitimate lawsuit against them.
Right.
That's why they're having them sign off, and they're giving them the lump sum. That's buying out. Contract is a phrase. It doesn't mean literally, but contract is a phrase. They're buying out their contract, if you will, because that's the way to get rid of them. You take this money, you will sign away any rights to any type of lawsuit or anything that you can file. And that's what they've been doing, or they've been trying to do.
What we tell anyone who wants to be a client of ours is, don't sign a goddamn thing. Because if you're right, let's take it to the federal court and not the state court. None of that bullshit. Because the federal judges are there for a long period of time. They have a very well received history of how they rule. And the last two cases that we know of was a $2.2 million payout. So, Dawn, if you want to offer any of our clients $2.2 million to go away, we will. They will. But let's get into, so there was 109 people, right? And 6 people didn't want to say anything because they were afraid that this wasn't going to be confidential. So when 0 is completely dissatisfied to 10 being completely satisfied. So completely dissatisfied is 27 votes. And that's 27% of the COs. Extremely dissatisfied is 12. Very dissatisfied, 15. Mostly dissatisfied, 12. Somewhat dissatisfied, 7. Neutral, 17. Because, of course, those are the people that are afraid that someone's watching this and that they're going to get in trouble. So they feel that they can't speak out, right? Somewhat dissatisfied is 9. Mostly satisfied is 6. Who the hell is that? Probably new people. Very satisfied, 1. That's probably Colleen. Extremely satisfied is 1, and completely satisfied is 2. Those people must be on crack, or they're brand new. But should we go through and read some of the comments without? We don't want to use anything that would give anybody away as far as what their position is. But what I noticed, I don't know if you noticed it, but it was mostly about pay and how Sheriff Buckley cares more about the inmates' mental health than she does about the CO's mental health. And I'm telling you, if she keeps firing people the way she is, her and Colleen Wooding are going to have a suicide. And I'm not encouraging anyone to commit suicide.
Hell no.
I'm just saying that we have spoken to many, 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 many people who have been crushed and debilitated and harmed. And Donna doesn't seem to care because she's out there doing road stops, going to parties, joyriding with her husband, in her car, calling motorists, swearing at motorists. But
one of the things I noticed reading it is the lack of leadership. That she sold a big story when she ran for election, but talk is cheap.
Well, this is my favorite one. It's number 7. It says, ultimately, the question comes from the sheriff down. Administration is changed out to push the sheriff's objective, and that's what's being done. The people of Barnstable County voted for these changes, but they didn't really. I mean, I don't think they knew what they were voting for. I do believe in programs, but what they're doing, and this is coming from someone from the inside, is they're replacing one drug for another drug, or placing an inmate on a drug because it will look better to the court. And inmates that are not used to being used for medical testing feel like this is what's happening to them. And that what this particular person thinks is what's happening at a state and a pharmaceutical level is that the program personnel are being valued, right? But they're being valued above security, not only in face value, but in wages. And Donna's she's promoted people beyond their means. She's created extra positions. She's put all these people on the Massachusetts pension system. She's made Bob Honan the special sheriff / superintendent, and she does that so he can go into group 4 for retirement purposes. So what Dawn is doing basically is she's fleecing taxpayers in Massachusetts by putting people that cooperate with her in a very financially stable situation. This other one that I think is really funny is it says, the admin is a joke, they're clueless. Hiring a lot of people with big salaries in the offices, keep this place running, got a coffee machine. Men can grow beards and have neck and hand tattoos. We still don't have managers, which creates inconsistencies and stops movement among the supervisors. We make less than the new civilians being hired, as well as most other counties. They work 16-hour shift, nights and weekends, while the new civilians work 8 hours Monday through Friday. They deal with all the ugly behind the scenes and can't get anything extra because Dawn is hiring all kinds of different people to do all kinds of different jobs because she's incompetent. That they didn't say that, I'm saying that. Yeah. The cost of living has gone up, insurance gone up, co-pays has gone up. It's expensive to live on and off the Cape. And all we hear is that the sheriff wants to take everything from them and take the little bit that they have away from them. And they're disappointed in the lack of leadership. They have displayed and fought things that would have gotten better when Donna came. If anything, it's gotten worse than it was before. And people feel, and this is a quote, I feel more insignificant working here than I ever did. Their intentions at first sounded good, but things aren't working out that way. They stick to their guns because they feel they're right when everyone works the floor knows that they're wrong.
The one that really got me was, and I'll read it. It's, under the new administration, it appears as if staff, the security staff, are the perpetrators and the inmates are the victims. This is unacceptable. Benefits have been extended to convicted offenders. We all know who that probably was. And their taxpayer-funded benefits. And then they have since they had a program that was introduced, it includes medicating inmates. And this is the part that really concerns me so much. It includes medicating inmates who did not have a drug problem before being incarcerated. That is beyond disturbing. Yep. And it has to be investigated. There's been an increase in disciplinary issues. The staff is at a greater risk now than under the last administration, and it's noticeable. That is extremely concerning. They apparently there's a lot of sick time abuse by the newer officers. There's no what is the word I want to say? Justification, qualification. When you're sick, there are rules that you have to follow. They're not being followed. And it's to the point where it's basically like a free-for-all. But like I said, the concerning part for me is when you have, so you now have this 2 plus have stated the issue with medicating the inmates. But when you're medicating inmates that are coming in that don't have any type of drug problem, and all of a sudden you're medicating them in jail, why are you medicating them in jail? Is it to shut them up?
Well, we know why, right? One is to keep them high and happy, but two is to supply the sober homes with victims. Because I did a Freedom of Information Act, and I sent it to the sheriff, and I asked that I wanted a list of all the sober homes that you send everybody to on and off Cape. And they basically told me to pound sand. I haven't answered them back yet. But the problem is Troy Clarkson is the ethics commissioner, which is funny as hell, for this program called MASH. It's the Massachusetts Alliance of Sober Homes. And Troy Clarkson is the ethics chairman. Okay. And we made a big stink about sober homes before, because a 4-bedroom house makes $20,000 a month profit. So of course they buy these sober homes $100,000 over asking price, because they pay off the house in 2 years. And they do nothing. They don't provide medication. They don't provide counseling. It's all peer orientated. And what I've heard from people who have been in these sober homes is that it's a revolving door, and they let people come in drunk. And then, they give these rates. It's $5,000 the first month. It's $2,500 the second month. And then it's $250 per week after that. So these sober homes are already saying you're going to be a drug addict in 3 months. And how do we know that? Well, because we've heard rumors that in the third month, if someone's clean, they bring in someone who gives them drugs. Now, like I said, we can't prove that. It's what people have told us. And I'm not saying that that's what happens at Donna's sober homes or her husband's sober homes, if they own them in their own name, which we know they don't. But it's a fraud perpetrated when you're making addicts in the prison, and then you're funneling them to sober homes, where you're very involved in the community of sober homes, and your husband actually is in charge of approving sober homes. So that's a problem. And Troy's brother had owned a bunch of sober homes. I don't know if he still does, but that's the part we haven't put through the ethics commission yet. But I think we're going to go to higher levels, because it isn't fair. These people they're already messed up. That's why they're in jail. And Donna touted this, people are on drugs. There's 160 inmates there. That's it, 160 inmates. And they're putting people on addictive drugs that don't need them. Why? Well, so they can ship them over to their friends' sober homes, is what I think. And God
right now
they're
using
loud.
I think you have a controlled population and inmates to do your testing on. And we know, and that's the scary part. Their inmates actually are being used as guinea pigs, and somehow, some way, pharmaceutical companies are involved in this as well.
Oh, I'm sure that, look at, we know Julian Sears is getting a ton of money donated to him by pharmaceutical companies. Susan Moran wants to put pot in schools. Is she out of her ever-loving mind? And this is the problem with this. There's no oversight on the sheriff's department. Okay, there's 14 sheriffs in Massachusetts. Like today, I heard that they just took two dogs from a canine officer, and Plymouth took them. Plymouth's been taking everybody's dogs that have been taken away from handlers. Well, pretty soon, Plymouth hired this guy, Mark, who used to work at, I can't remember his last name, but he's a consultant, right? And does all this dog training all over the whole entire state. Well, soon nobody's going to want to do dog training there, because they're just going to steal the dogs from the handlers.
Yeah.
It's like taking one of your kids. Could you imagine having to give up one of your dogs?
Well,
and I don't know the whole story, but allegedly, right?
I do have a Chihuahua if anybody's interested.
But on comment number 19, the sheriff has absolutely no clue what she's doing. Our human resources chief does not know what's best for staff. Our superintendent has not toured the jail. That's Bobby Ahonen has not toured the jail or talked to our line staff in over 5 years. It seems if you don't volunteer outside the jail, you won't get ahead.
Wow.
And how about this one? Unless there's a concerted effort to increase employee retention, current attrition rates will further deteriorate morale in the work environment to the point where good officers choose to leave, or they're forced out, right? Or they're forced out. Hey, if you don't take the severance package, we're going to shove it up your ass. That's no way to deal with people.
No.
I mean, that's a disgusting way to deal with people. And the director of human resources has failed in all these endeavors and should be replaced at the earliest convenience. I don't think she's telling the sheriff everything, because she's done stuff that we've talked to people that's completely illegal. It's totally wrong. Like, she wouldn't even, someone asked to be on FMLA, she refused to put the paperwork for.
You can't
for.
do that.
No. This person is obviously new, okay, because they don't understand retaliation. I would love the opportunity to offer feedback, comments, and suggestions in the future, but I'm sure if this is an anonymous comment, I feel many feel the same way. I'm disappointed in our own union asking our opinion, and I would have felt more optimistic about the progression of our department had it been a question posed by our administration, especially with the intention of taking things into consideration or further discussion, or perhaps an open brainstorming meeting. This person is in dreamland, because with a good leader, you would have that. A good leader wants to know what's bad. Like, when I took over South Boston, I said to people like, hey, come on to my office and tell me what I can do to make your work life better. And they looked around and were like, Lieutenant, the only time I've ever been in this office was to get yelled at. And if you don't mind, I'd rather not say anything just yet. I was like, oh, okay. I said, but, listen, I came out from behind my desk. But once they got to know me after a month, they came back in and said, hey, remember when you asked me what you could do to make my work life better? I said, yeah, well, let's have it. And I'm not going to get in trouble. I go, listen, you're not going to get in trouble. He said, don't mess with people's workout times, and don't criticize the older guys' report writing. And I was like, okay, what else? He goes, that's it. I'm like, done, right?
Yeah.
But that's a simple thing. And people in the police world are so used to getting disciplined to death, and the post commission has made it even worse, because what you have now is you have cops driving around in a circle, because they're afraid that if they cross one of their bosses, if you're in the in crowd, your stuff doesn't get forwarded to post. But if you're not in the in crowd, or the boss or the colonel or the command staff or the EDS or the shift captain doesn't know you, they'll send it up to post commission, and that's the end. And the other thing they're doing too, which is, this has got to be, we need to bring this up to a legislator who gives a crap. I don't know who that's going to be. But what these police departments are doing is, and especially the sheriff's department, they're not putting forward these people who are supposed to be certified by post and then firing them, which means they can't get a job anywhere else. So they're killing the career for the rest of their life by not allowing them to get post certified. I think post is a big scam. Would you ever have a surgeon, a Massachusetts surgical commission run by truck drivers?
No.
And the truck drivers get to decide what surgeons get to be decertified. And that's what post commission is. There's no cops there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they won't hire. Now they've said, like, oh, we'll make concessions to have someone from internal affairs. Well, in some of the internal affairs, people are the biggest rats going. That's why they're there. So because someone is in internal affairs, that makes them a more fair person to work for the post commission? I don't think so. If that's what the orientation is. But what else did you see that was, I love this. Why offer attorneys more money out of nowhere if they're not asking for it? That's someone who's never had to use the union. I think you should have a great union attorney and a great union president. And when they don't stick up for you, you get rid of them. Right?
Well, yeah, you sit there and you boot out that union and you join another union. I mean, there's so many different ones that are out there, and
here's the problem with that: the sheriff's union, right? There's like 5 of them there. There's like one for the dispatchers, one for the captains, one for the COs, one for the staff, one for that staff, and so you end up having 5 people in a union. Well, that's no good. What I say to anybody is, You think you want to file a lawsuit? You think you have a hostile work environment? You think you've been treated wrong? Talk to us. We will set you up really well. And what I'd like to do, and I'm not afraid to say it, is I'd like to get a class action lawsuit for a hostile work environment, because these people are being treated so poorly and intimidated so badly that, some of them are starting to break down. And they're still working there. And they're treated worse than inmates, because, Donna thinks that, inmates are there for a reason. It's so hard to go to jail, but I do believe that you can only be rehabilitated when you want to be. But putting someone on an addictive drug isn't going to do anything. It's malfeasance, actually.
I mean, yeah, you bring up a really, really good point, okay? And that is, if you're in jail nowadays, you're there for a reason, because they let everybody go now. We've seen it where, people who have, hit and run or whatever, that they get a slap on the wrist, or they're told by the bail bondsman that doesn't feel like waking up and going down and setting bail, and says, let them go on personal recognizance. They don't send them to jail anymore if it's misdemeanor
How about that
or below.
cop who
Even
raped a bunch of
felony.
people? Yeah, that cop raped a bunch of people.
He got
should be
out
held.
$200,000 bail. That was it. He was out the door.
He should
Didn't even get held.
He should be held. Yet Turtle Boy, who allegedly, got someone upset, goes right to jail. Do you know how hard it is to go right to jail? And that Michael Morrissey is as corrupt as has come. And he better get off the sauce. And I hope that the FBI is looking into him. Well, how about this one? I don't know if I read this one already, but I feel so bad for these people. And this is why, this stuff goes on at police departments too. But for the most part, they could go to the chief if they wanted to, right? This one hurts my heart. I am honestly disappointed in the lack of leadership they've displayed, and thought things would have gotten better with them. If anything has gotten worse than it was before, I've never felt more insignificant working here as I do now. That's sad, because it says when they stick to their guns because they feel they're right, when everyone who works the floor knows they're wrong. So what you have is a blatant violation, a blatant breach of security, whatever it is. And when it's reported or someone talks about it, that person is targeted. And Bob Ahonen does the targeting. And I wonder if he's even telling the sheriff what's going on. But, what she says to them is, well, I am the sheriff, which basically means that she can do whatever she wants.
And that's one of the problems that's something that would need to be rectified by the legislature, if the legislature actually was interested in doing their job, which would be to change the laws of what the sheriff can and cannot do. Instead of being autonomous for the 6 years, instead of being able to hire your entire technically they're not family, because they're the ex's family. Whatever, she's hiring her husband's family.
And she just got a promotion too.
But yeah, you find that there are other agencies out there, and they're getting in trouble for the nepotism. So what makes the sheriff's department held higher than everywhere else? And that's where you have to get your legislatures involved. They have to sit there and start looking at the sheriff's department. Post already supposedly did that by adding, deputy sheriffs to the requirements, which I'm sure the sheriff's department fought tooth and nail to not have that happen, but it did happen. Now sheriff's deputies are
right
under the same guidelines.
But then look, somebody like Luke Carroll. I don't know Luke Carroll. He might be a good guy, right? Obviously, he's the sheriff's pet. If I was him, I would start seriously looking around, because other people that thought that they were in the know, right, that they were in the group at the top levels, Ahonen took them off at the knees too. And
isn't he retiring though?
He's retiring. Yeah, he's retiring. I heard, because he doesn't like to leave his house because we've basically exposed how ruthless he is, and how heartless he is, and how he fires veterans, and then veterans go to him for help, and he turns his back on them and walks out of the room. And
I mean,
when someone's viciously attacked in the jail and they ask you for help, you give it to them. If I had a police officer that was viciously attacked, and I had a police officer who was viciously attacked on the road. I got him all the help that he needed. I even put him in for an award because he wrestled around on the ground with this guy, and the guy tried to run him over. You know, I wouldn't tell that guy, like, oh, suck it up. That's what the job is. No, I wanted the DA to take out charges against him because this guy was fighting for his life on the highway, on the ground, while this guy tried to run him over. You have to take care of your people. And I don't know if it's because, you know, she grew up in a dysfunctional family or whatever her issue is, but she's buying people. And that only works for so long. And then when you buy people like that, you are promoting people who have no heart and no soul, and they won't follow the rules, and they will step on people's faces to get promoted. And, you know, that seems to be a lot of, you know, how the law enforcement community has worked for many years. But once it starts to turn political, like a sheriff's department, you know, I mean, she's done terrible things. Look, that inmate overdosed twice. She didn't take him to the hospital.
Which is against policy.
Right? Why? When people asked why he wasn't going to the hospital, they got retaliated against. Anybody who tells her the truth gets retaliated against. Anybody who goes to her for help gets fired. But you know, she'll promote somebody like Kevin Fernandez who cheated on an exam, Donnie Doyle who's got 2 kids out of wedlock and has a fraudulent mortgage, called people fat, you know, while they were in training. But yet Donna has an award ceremony, and this poor woman is pinning her son or daughter. I forget which it was. So maybe it was a father. I forget. But the person pinning their offspring worked for Donna. And Donna walked up to her and was like, "Oh, do you work at Falmouth PD too?" And she's like, "I work for you." I mean, how stupid. And Casey Myers should have said to Donna, "These are the people. These are the people in this process, and this is who they are." That should be Casey Myers' job. But she's so inexperienced, and she doesn't know either. She's
someone should tell Donna to please look at her Facebook page. Maybe she might note who the employee is that gets the spotlight of the day.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, you have to stop campaigning outside, okay? And you have to get in and do your job. Now, she could not show up all she wants. There's no rule that she even has to be there. But when you have a number 2, like, and he is a number 2, Bob Honan and Colleen Wooding, I can't tell you, I can't find any person that she's actually helped there. She's fired people, she's conned people, she's lied to people. She's broken the law. She's the worst HR person I've ever heard of. And we can't go into detail, obviously, but you know, it'll come out, you know, sooner or later. But what I wish would have happened is, first, I wish she wasn't the sheriff, but I think the Massachusetts Sheriff Association has to get consultants and teach these people what they don't know. But how do you teach somebody 25 years of law enforcement experience when they don't have any? It's something you can't teach, like the road stop, right? Like, people are like, "Oh, what's the big deal with the road stop?" Well, the big deal with the road stop is the what ifs, right? First of all, she obviously can't drive at night. So she was, you know, slowing down and braking, and the person behind her thought she was texting. So she flashed her high beam. So Donna flashed her rear blinkers at her. So the woman pulled over because she thought she was being pulled over. I don't know how you pull somebody over from a cop being behind you, but whatever. So she pulls over, does the right thing, and Donna pulls up next to her and says, "Stop driving up people's asses," with her husband in the car. Now, the what if is, what if someone shot Troy Clarkson in the face? That's the what if, okay? And it's very, very likely in law enforcement to be shot at and to be killed and to be beat and to be spit at. And that's the first possibility. The second possibility is when she brake checked this poor woman, the woman could have slammed into her and sent Donna into oncoming traffic. Now, what if this was a criminal and the person decided to take off and then smashed into a family of 4 in Mashpee?
Well, here's the thing. What if it was a former inmate that was in that jail and recognized her?
What if it was a drunk judge?
Yeah. I mean,
or a drunk politician,
the
or a
thing
crazy
is
person.
what was she thinking? Why would you do that and then think that there would be no repercussions for it? None.
Because
Unless
she's
that's
the sheriff.
arrogance. Unless it's
Well,
arrogance.
it's I'll say this. I'm not defending her, right? But everybody's kind of a jerk when they come out of the academy. Like everybody kind of thinks, I'm a cop, my poop doesn't stink, whatever. I think everybody's got that, and then it goes away very quickly because when you do that to citizens, they tell you to f off, right? And there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Or you get another cop that tells you like, hey, cut the crap, right? But Donna doesn't have anybody that can speak truth to her. She's with Casey Myers, who 5 people that I spoke to, Casey Myers called to try to get dirt on Donna to report on it, and now she's working there. Donna hired some girl, Hannah, who used to work, another political hire to do the social media stuff. So, she's got $500,000 in new hires.
Two people that are doing the social media for it, which is kind of weird.
Well, not even that, but when she goes to write an award for someone, it's they helped me through the political race that I won, and that's it's not about her. And the sheriff's department is not about her. She needs to stop. My suggestion to her would be stop campaigning. You already have the job. People don't want to see you at their events. Like, they don't want you to show up.
I mean, she obviously wants to bury the fact how she called the former felon the epitome of why she ran, and how everybody knew because she introduced him supposedly. Yet when I look at past stuff that she stated and interviews or reportings in the newspaper, there's never any mention of him. She tried to sneak him through.
And the thing is, Rick Corey went to, I think, her stepdaughter's wedding. Maybe it's Troy's first wife. I'm not really sure. I think it's Troy's first wife's kid went to their wedding. That was, more than 5 years ago. But now and they were supposed to be best friends, right? They're out to dinner. They go to hockey games. They, they're out with friends. They're at Nautical Light and Falmouth taking pictures. He's gone. All the pictures of him are wiped off of Facebook, right? And he was the epitome. So what's going to happen to Luke Carroll? What's going to happen to Donnie Doyle? I heard Donnie Doyle, got the offer, maybe you should leave. Well, she created a position for him. Like, she created positions. And, and Bob Honan, he eliminated the competition right away. I'm sure he spoke bad about other people, and Donna fired them so he could stick around. And he's about to find out how all these other people find out, but he'll have a pension, right?
Yeah.
And some of these people, like, I'm worried that some of these people are going to commit suicide. Not the people that someone coming up, like, they're going to do someone so dirty. And you should not treat people going to work in the jail. I'll tell you, I give it those guys 100%, because any guy or girl that I ever worked with, that worked for the DOC was the best trooper, the best interviewer, the best undercover, because they didn't feel the need to go to fisticuffs right away. They didn't speak out of turn. Donna has a very young, I don't think there's many people that have been there for more than 10 years. And there's 3 classes that she's about to lose due to attrition because they want to get out of there. They don't want to work for her anymore. A good officer, the facility can't operate properly and safely, and they're losing good officers because there's no apparent care for retention. Like, she's allegedly going to hire this political hack, Michael Harris, to be the special sheriff, which I'll tell you will have a lot of people quit. She promoted people out of, there's one of those. Have you seen that one that she promoted people out of line? Okay.
Yes.
Sheriff Buckley says that we're the backbone of the organization, yet not much has changed. Inmates get more and more things to make them comfortable and be sure their mental health is okay. We don't get anything. What about our mental health? Really, what about their mental health? I mean, if a corrections officer is viciously attacked, okay, and 2 other people who were attacked retired, medically retired because they were attacked.
Because they're forced into it, pretty much.
Well, they were attacked, right? So one, I think 2 of them got knee surgery, so they were out. But the one who didn't, he had to transport this same prisoner that attacked him to court. So why were they doing that? Because They were trying to put pressure on him to get him to quit. So the guy that attacked him, they made him drive him to Middlesex. And then when the guy came back, of course, he went back to court. They had the same CO pick up the same guy that attacked him. And what did that guy do? He spit in another CO's mouth, and that person had to go to the hospital.
That's disgusting.
And then you got Rick Corey, who's taking Keith Strickland, who is the most violent offender there is, out to lunch after he bails him from the Falmouth Police Department. Now, we don't pay drug counselors to bail out violent felons and take them to lunch.
And this person assaulted someone a week later, I'm pretty sure, didn't he?
I don't know what he did, but he's a violent, very violent person. I mean, anybody down here knows who he is. But, this is great too. We're two dysfunctional entities, which is a morale killer. There's no reason whatsoever we can't work together as a team. Why does the administration look down at security staff? Because you're the pawns. And until you start sticking up for yourself, if you think that you're going to get promoted and she's not going to do the same thing to you, they have 6 years of this. They have 6 years of her if they don't get a hold of this right now. And Darylyn at DarylynHaywood.com. My phone number's on our webpage. You can call me or Diane. Everything's confidential. And what we do is we prepare lawsuits for really effective attorneys. I'm not going to say who the attorneys are, but their last two settlements were $2.2 million in federal court. So we're very good at what we do. We hate to see the only way, unfortunately, now in law enforcement to get any kind of change is to sue. Sue them.
And it's sad because it's interesting how when they're rank and file, if you will, they support each other. It's like when you get into the positions of deputy chief in chief or sheriff, it's all political. And there's no room for politics, I think, in law enforcement. I mean, quite frankly, I think having politics in the different type of agencies is really what is at the root of a lot of the problems that's going on in this country today.
Well, one of the things, like Tim Whalen told my union not to endorse me, right? Because he was going to use his sway with a Ways and Means Committee to get them to Quinville. Like, I could have reported that, right? But I don't want to put the people in the union that told me that because they would have to testify. But that's an incredible breach of trust to leverage his sway in the legislature in order for them to not endorse me. Okay. Because I said who he was, that he wouldn't support Republican candidates against incumbent Democrats, right?
Yeah.
But the politics of it is this, and this, we have like 4 minutes left. So this is bad. I dislike the person that this happened to because he stared me down at the gas pumps, but this is what happened to him. He was told that he was going to be driving Donna to, I think, Maura Healey's swearing in maybe, or some swearing in. So he gets all dutzed up in his duds, and he's in the car, and Troy says to him, "So what are you going to be doing next year?" And he goes, "I'll be working here." Well, he didn't know that Donna was going to fire him. Right? Because I'm sure Bob Honan, threw him down the toilet. But here's this guy who, thinks he's doing the right thing. He's been a favorite. He's part of the Hatchet crowd too. But he thinks he's made it. He thinks he's made it to the top. And then Donna obviously was whispering to her husband who was going to get fired. So she shoots him a dirty look. And we've known this for a long time. Like we were told this a while ago, but that's the kind of dirty, disgusting. You're going to have someone drive you. You're going to have someone drive you to an event that you're going to fire in a week. You're a scumbag.
But here's what's even worse when it comes to that, because she, being an attorney, knows that it's egregious to discuss personnel issues with someone that is not part of the sheriff's department. You can't do that.
Grabbing everybody's medical stuff.
Well,
he's telling everybody what's happening to people.
Well, then they have the right to sit there and sue his ass directly as well as the sheriff's department, because you can't do that. You cannot do that. Personnel issues are one of the 5-6 things in the state of Massachusetts that when you discuss it is executive session. And that applies also, maybe not it's called an executive session, but you have to have that type of privacy for the employees. They are entitled to have privacy for example, for an employee, they have to make an appointment just to see their own personnel files. So then when you have people blabbing all this stuff out there, they can't be doing that.
Colleen won't let people see their personnel
Well,
files.
they have the right. There is a state law in Massachusetts that says any employee has the right to see their employee files. She cannot stop them. They call her, they make an appointment, they can go in and view it, or they can photocopy the entire thing. And if she tells people otherwise, she is violating the law.
Well,
And they
she's
should
violated
just-
the law a lot.
So
Right?
then she just,
I mean-
so you just, I mean, I will be more than happy to put that law on our Double D Uncensored so everybody can see, because it applies to public sector employees and private employers. You have the right to see your personnel file.
We're just going to add it to the lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know, we're just going to add it to the lawsuit. But you know, and people say, oh, why are you picking on the sheriff? We did not go out of our way to pick on the sheriff.
No.
When Rick Corey was hired, I called her, I called Colleen, I spoke to Bob Honen's wife. Nobody called me back.
And we're going to have to continue this conversation next week because it is the end of our show.
Yeah, I want all you guys to hang in there, and girls who are working for the sheriff's department, and please give us a call. It's all confidential. We're sorry about what's happening to you.
Yeah, and we will see you guys next week. Have a great week, and I'm sure everybody's going to be interested in knowing with the New Hampshire primary coming up next week. Make sure if you're in New Hampshire, get out and vote. Talk to you later. See you next week.
Bye, guys.